He hasn't touched me in 6 months, not once. Not a brush of his fingers, not a kiss on my shoulder as I pass him in the hallway. Just silence. Controlled, deliberate silence. The kind that hums louder than words ever could. Sometimes I think I can feel his restraint like a hand around my throat. Invisible but unyielding. It started the night I told him he over-sexualized me. I didn't mean it like an accusation. God, I was tired. The kind of tired that seeps into your bones when every glance feels like a performance. Every dress like a trap. I just wanted him to see me. Not the body he owned. Not the trophy wife who looked good on magazine covers. Me. The woman who still flinched sometimes when the cameras flashed. But Alexander Hale doesn't take words lightly. The next morning, he didn't say a thing. He simply rose from bed before dawn, buttoned his black shirt, always black, and walked out without kissing me goodbye. The house felt like an echo after that. Every clock ticked too loudly. Every breath felt watched. I live in a mansion built on silence. Tonight, the rain drags its fingers down the tall windows of our penthouse. The city below glows, golden wet and restless, while I stand barefoot in the marble kitchen holding a glass of red wine I haven't tasted. He's home. I can feel him before I see him. His presence shifts the air, subtle, heavy, electric. Dinner's on the table, I say, trying to sound casual. He doesn't answer right away. He sets his keys on the counter, shrugs off his coat. The scent of rain and his cologne fills the room. Cedar, amber, control. My pulse betrays me. It always does around him. I'm not hungry, he murmurs finally, his voice low, threaded with that calm danger he carries like a second skin. I glance up. His tie is loosened, his jaw tense. 6 months, and yet he still looks at me like I'm both the problem and the solution. You should eat, I whisper. You've been working late every night. He gives a soft, humorless laugh. Concern suits you? It cuts, not the words themselves, but the tone. Detached. I want to shout that I still care, that I didn't mean to break whatever fragile thing we had. But I can't. My pride is louder than my fear. He moves past me to pour himself a drink. The amber liquid glows under the pendant lights. His reflection catches mine in the glass cabinet. 2 ghosts pretending not to ache. Do you ever think about that night? I ask before I can stop myself. He doesn't look up. Which one? The one where everything changed. Finally, his gaze lifts. Gray eyes, cold as steel and twice as sharp. You mean the night you told me I reduce you to flesh and desire? My breath catches. That's not what but that's what I heard. He interrupts, voice smooth, dangerous. So I adjusted accordingly, adjusted. The word feels clinical, cruel. I take a shaky sip of wine. You think punishing me with distance makes you right? I think, he says, stepping closer. It's the only way to prove I can love you without touching you. His words hit like thunder. Love. Without touching. He stands just a few inches away now, and my heart hammers against my ribs. His nearness feels like fire trapped under glass. I want to reach out to grab his wrist to remind him that I'm still here. But he doesn't move. He just watches. Always watching. Is that what this is? I whisper. A test? His eyes flicker. Maybe, I laugh hollow. And what happens if I fail? He tilts his head, studying me like he's calculating my limits. Then I'll know what kind of love you wanted all along. The silence between us stretches, taut as wire. I can hear the rain outside, the hum of the refrigerator, my pulse racing in my ears. I used to crave his touch. Now I crave the sound of his forgiveness. He sets his glass down, untouched. I'm going to my study, he says. Don't wait up. I nod, though he's already turning away. When he disappears down the corridor, I finally breathe. My hand trembles as I set my wine on the counter. The room smells like him. Sharp, clean, intoxicating. 6 months. 6 months of living beside a man who once made me feel worshipped. Now reduced to polite strangers with shared memories. But here's the thing I don't tell anyone. I miss his control. The way his gaze used to strip me bare without touching me. The way his voice could undo me in a single word. I told him he over-sexualized me, but maybe what I really meant was, I miss being seen that way by him. Now he looks through me. Past me, and yet I can't leave. Not because of the money, not even because of the marriage, but because every silence feels like he's daring me to prove him wrong. So I stay. And when I walk past his study that night, I pause at the door. The light seeps out beneath it, faint and golden. I hear the soft scratch of his pen, the sound of him breathing. He's alone, just like me. My fingers hover over the door handle. I almost knock, but I don't. Not yet. Because something in me, stubborn, foolish, hopeful, whispers that this war isn't over. It's just beginning. The silence between us grows teeth. It doesn't just live in the house, it hunts in it. Every hallway feels haunted by what we're not saying. Every glance we exchange feels like a spark trapped in glass, suffocating but unable to die. It's been 2 weeks since that night in the kitchen. 2 weeks of pretending we're fine, 2 weeks of perfect civility. We move around each other like ghosts, quiet, deliberate, distant. But there are moments, tiny moments, when the air shifts, like this morning. He's sitting at the breakfast table, scrolling through something on his tablet. He's in a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled to the elbows, collar undone. The man looks like temptation personified, and he knows it. I set his coffee beside him, careful not to brush his hand. He doesn't thank me. He never does anymore, but when I turn to leave, I feel it. His gaze tracing the line of my back, the hem of my robe, the bare skin at the back of my neck. It's not touch, but it's enough to burn. Stay, he says softly. I freeze. The word is quiet, but it roots me in place. Slowly I turn. His eyes meet mine, calm, unreadable. Sit with me. I do. Because I always do. For a while neither of us speaks. The only sound is the faint clink of his spoon against porcelain. He takes a sip of coffee, then says, "You're restless." I blink. "And you're observant." He almost smiles, and almost. "You used to be better at hiding it." "I used to be many things," I murmur. He sets the cup down, leans back in his chair. "Tell me, Olivia, are you happy?" The question steals my breath. That's a dangerous question coming from you. Maybe I'm in the mood for danger. My throat tightens. "Are you?" For a heartbeat, we're caught, eye to eye, heart to heart, and I swear the air between us shivers. Then he looks away. "I'm heading to the Hamptons this weekend, business." "Oh." The word falls flat. He glances at me again. "You could come if you want. It's not an invitation. It's a test. Everything with Alexander is a test now." "I'll think about it," I say, pretending indifference. He nods, slow and deliberate. "Do." And just like that, the conversation dies. But all day, the thought of that trip clings to me. The Hamptons. The estate where everything began. The place where he first kissed me under a thunderstorm and told me I made him forget the world. I shouldn't go. I know that. But I also know he wouldn't have asked unless some part of him, buried deep beneath the coldness, wanted me there. So I pack. The drive is long, quiet, painted in silver and sea mist. By the time we arrive, the sky is bruised with dusk. The ocean roars beyond the cliffs, wild and unrelenting. He disappears into his study the moment we arrive. I wander through the house. Polished wood, tall windows, echoes of our laughter from a lifetime ago. At sunset, I find him outside on the terrace. The wind tosses his hair, the sky behind him bleeding orange into blue. He's holding a glass of scotch, watching the sea like it owes him answers. I step closer. "You always come here when you're angry." "I'm not angry," he says. "Then what are you?" He turns to face me. Tired, I cross my arms. "Of me?" His gaze drifts down, then back up. "Of pretending I don't want you." The confession slices through the wind, my pulse trips. "Then why?" "Because you told me not to," he cuts in. I take a shaky breath. "I didn't tell you to stop loving me, Alexander." He steps closer, slow, deliberate. "No, you told me to stop wanting you. And I did. You have no idea what that cost me every day." The rawness in his voice is a punch to the chest. I swallow hard. "So this distance, it's some kind of revenge?" He shakes his head. "No, it's proof." "Proof of what?" "That I can be the man you say you want. That I can love you without claiming you." The words tremble with restraint. I want to scream that I never asked for this kind of love, cold, calculated, starved of touch. But then he looks at me like that again, that piercing, consuming way, and I lose my words. "I don't know what I want anymore," I whisper. He's close enough now that I can smell the sea on his skin, the scotch on his breath. His voice drops low. Then maybe you should find out. Before I can reply, he brushes past me, leaving the scent of him in the air. Smoke. Salt heat. I stand there, trembling. The wind pulls at my hair, the ocean roars louder, and I realize I'm shaking not from the cold, but from wanting him, from hating that I still do. Later that night, I lie in bed listening to the storm outside. Lightning flashes through the curtains, thunder rolls over the house, and somewhere down the hall, I hear him moving. His footsteps pause outside my door. My heart stops. Then, silence. He doesn't come in, but for the first time in months I sense it, a crack in the armor. A question in the dark. Maybe the test isn't just his, maybe it's ours. And something deep inside me whispers, next time I won't let him walk away. It happens the next night. The storm has passed, but the air still hums with its memory, damp, heavy, electric. The ocean glitters black beneath the moonlight and the house feels alive again, awake in a way it hasn't been for months. I can't sleep. I toss, turn, stare at the ceiling. Every creak of the house sounds like his footsteps. Every breath feels too loud. Finally, I give up and slip out of bed, pulling his old shirt over my nightdress. It smells faintly of him. Cedar, smoke, power. The hallway is dark, lit only by the faint spill of light from under his study door. He's awake. Of course he is. I stand there for a full minute, debating whether to walk away. My hand hovers over the door handle. And then, before I can talk myself out of it, I knock. A pause. Then his voice, low, measured. Come in. He's at his desk, sleeves rolled up, tie gone, hair tousled from running his hands through it. He looks less like a billionaire and more like a man trying not to fall apart. Papers lie scattered across the desk, but I know he hasn't been reading them. His eyes lift, and when they find me, something flickers there. A flash of surprise, maybe hunger. You should be asleep, he says quietly. I couldn't. He leans back, studying me. The storm keep you up? No, I whisper. You did. That gets him. The muscle in his jaw tightens, but he says nothing. I step closer until the scent of him fills my lungs. Why do you keep doing this, Alexander? Why do you make me chase your silence? He exhales, long and slow, setting his pen down. Because if I touch you again, I won't stop. My heart stumbles. Then don't stop, he stands. The chair scrapes softly against the floor and suddenly the air feels thin. He's taller, broader, shadowed in moonlight. Olivia, he says, my name rough in his throat. You said you felt objectified. You said I made you feel like something to be owned. I was angry, I breathe. I was scared. You made me feel too much and I didn't know how to handle it. His gaze darkens. And now? Now I miss it. I miss you. Silence falls heavy and trembling. He walks around the desk, slow, deliberate, until he's standing inches from me. His hand lifts, hesitates midair, and then drops. The restraint in that tiny motion hurts more than any rejection. You think I haven't missed you? He murmurs. Every night I lie awake fighting the urge to pull you back into my bed. To feel your skin, your breath, your heart against mine. But I don't. Because you asked me to stop wanting you. And for once I listened. Tears sting my eyes. I didn't ask you to stop loving me. He looks at me like I've just said something dangerous. You think they're different things? Yes, I whisper. They have to be. He steps closer, close enough that the heat of him seeps into my skin. Then tell me, Olivia, what do you want from me now? The words shake loose before I can stop them. I want the man who used to look at me like I was his reason for breathing. I want the man who kissed me like he was losing a war and I was his surrender. His breath catches. For a moment, neither of us moves. Then slowly he reaches out, fingertips brushing a loose strand of hair from my face. The touch is feather-light, but it sends a shock through me. I never stopped being that man, he says, voice low and raw. I just didn't know if you still wanted him. I close my eyes. The world narrows to the warmth of his fingers, the sound of our breaths mingling. When I open them again, he's watching me, guarded, aching. I take his hand and press it against my cheek. This, I whisper. This is what I wanted. He exhales sharply like he's been holding it for months. His thumb strokes my jaw, tentative, reverent. Tell me to stop, he murmurs. I can't. The space between us disappears. His mouth finds mine. Hesitant at first, then desperate, hungry, real. The kiss tastes of salt and confession, months of longing breaking open all at once. When he finally pulls away, his forehead rests against mine. "You shouldn't have come in here," he says, breathless. "I know, but you did." "Yes." A soft, humorless laugh escapes him. "You always were the brave one." I shake my head. "No, just the one who can't pretend anymore." He brushes his thumb over my lip, eyes dark and uncertain. "Then what happens now?" I swallow. "You tell me." He studies me for a long moment, as if deciding whether to destroy the walls he built. Then quietly, "Tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow." It's both a promise and a retreat. He steps back, the distance between us suddenly unbearable. The air feels colder without him in it. "Good night, Olivia," he says softly. I want to beg him to stay, to finish what he started, to stop running from what's left between us, but I don't. Instead, I turn, hand trembling on the doorknob. As I leave, I glance over my shoulder. He's still watching me, standing perfectly still in the moonlight, like a man caught between forgiveness and fear. And that's when I realize, tonight wasn't the ending I came for. It was the beginning of something neither of us can control. The next morning, the world pretends to be calm, but I know better. The sea lies still beneath a pale sky, seagulls tracing lazy circles over the cliffs. Yet beneath that calmness, the air thrums. Something is coming. He's already awake when I step into the kitchen. Coffee, pressed white shirt, tie perfectly knotted, controlled, composed, untouched. "Morning," I say softly. He doesn't look up. "Morning," just that. 2 syllables, empty as a marble hall. Last night feels like a dream I'm not allowed to mention. The kiss, the trembling, the ache. The way his voice cracked when he said my name. I pour myself coffee, trying to keep my hands from shaking. "You said we'd talk today." He sets down his tablet, finally meeting my eyes. "I did, and I'm not sure we're ready for that conversation." I laugh quietly. "You mean you're not ready?" "Maybe." His calmness infuriates me. That cool, unflinching mask he wears like armor. I want to break it. I want to see the man beneath, the one who kissed me like a confession last night. So I do something reckless. I walk around the counter, take the cup from his hand, and set it aside. He watches me, silent, tense. "Stop pretending," I whisper. "Stop acting like you don't want me." His jaw tightens. "You think this is easy for me?" "I don't care if it's easy. I care if it's real." He stands so suddenly the chair scrapes hard against the floor. "You think I'm not real?" "I think you're scared," I say, my voice trembling but steady. "You hide behind rules and control and restraint, but I see you, Alexander. You're terrified of losing control because you think it makes you weak." His eyes flash. "You don't know what I'm afraid of." "Then tell me." He doesn't. He just stares, every muscle in his body wound tight, his breathing sharp. Finally, he says, low and hoarse, "You said I over-sexualized you. Do you have any idea what those words did to me?" I blink, startled by the rawness in his tone. No," he cuts in. "You don't. Because you didn't see what I saw that night. You didn't see the way I looked at you and realized you were right. I made you into something beautiful, but also something I wanted to possess, and I hated myself for it." The confession steals the air from the room. "I stopped touching you," he continues, his voice breaking, "because I thought that was love. Because I thought maybe if I gave you space, you'd feel free again. But it just made us strangers." I feel tears rise, but I don't let them fall. "You could have told me that instead of freezing me out." He steps closer. "You think words would have fixed us?" "No," I whisper. But silence destroyed us. The tension snaps, sharp, electric. We're standing inches apart now, breathing the same air. His hand lifts halfway, then drops. Mine doesn't. I touch his chest, feel the steady thud of his heart beneath my palm. "Tell me you don't still want me," I whisper. He closes his eyes, pain flickering across his face. "You know I can't." "Then stop fighting it." He opens his eyes and something inside him breaks. His hands find my face, his grip trembling, his eyes searching mine like he's asking permission. I give it, not with words, but with the way I lean in. The kiss this time isn't gentle. It's desperate, aching, fierce. All the months of restraint shattering in a single breath. His mouth devours mine, his hands trace my jaw, my throat, my back. Every touch feels like an apology and a plea. When he pulls back, we're both breathing hard. "I can't do this halfway," he says. "If I touch you again, I'll ruin every rule I set for myself." "Then ruin them," I whisper. "Please." He stares at me like I've just undone him completely. And then he does exactly that, and he ruins everything. He kisses me again, harder this time. My back hits the counter, the cold marble pressing against my spine as his body pins me there. It's not about lust, and it's about release, about surrender. But just when the moment turns wild and reckless, he pulls away again. Not out of disgust, Mom, but anguish. "This isn't who I wanted to be," he says, voice cracking. "I didn't want to need you this much." I reach for him, touch his face. "Needing someone doesn't make you weak, Alexander. It makes you human." He shakes his head, steps back. "You don't understand. I spent my whole life building walls. Money, power, control. They were all armor. And then you came along, and you made me want to take it off. But when I do, I don't know who I am anymore. My chest aches. Then let me remind you." He looks at me, eyes shining with something raw and uncertain, then turns away. "Not like this," he says. "Not tonight, Alexander." But he's already walking out, his footsteps echoing through the hall like the end of something fragile. I press my hand to my chest, trying to steady my breathing. The silence returns, heavy and cruel. But this time it's not the silence of indifference. It's the silence before something breaks open. He's running, not from me, but from the truth that's been chasing him for months, and I know one thing with absolute certainty. He can't run forever. He leaves that night. No words, no explanation, just the low growl of the car engine fading into the storm. The sky opens again before dawn, and rain lashes the windows wild and relentless, like the world is echoing my heartbeat. I spend the next 2 days alone in the Hamptons' house, surrounded by silence and the scent of him. His jacket still hangs on the back of a chair. His glass, half empty, stands abandoned on the counter. It's as if he's everywhere and nowhere at once. I don't call him. I want to, but pride is a cruel companion, so I wait. On the third night, I drive back to the city. The highway is slick and dark, headlights stretching endlessly into nothing. My mind replays every word, every look, every breath between us, until I realize something terrible. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just afraid. Afraid that love, real, raw love, has turned us both into versions of ourselves we don't recognize. When I walk into our penthouse, the lights are dim. The city glows beyond the glass like molten gold. And there he is, standing by the window, hands in his pockets, staring out into the night. He turns when he hears me. His expression is unreadable. "You left," I say quietly. "I needed to think." "Did you?" He nods once. "I did." Silence stretches between us, sharp and brittle. Then he says, "You were right." The words hit like a jolt. "About what?" "Everything. About how I treat you. About how I built this relationship on control instead of trust. I thought if I could manage every detail, what you wore, where you went, who saw you, then I could keep you. But all I did was trap you." I take a step closer. "Alexander," he shakes his head, cutting me off. "When you told me I over-sexualized you, it broke something in me. Not because you were wrong, but because you were right, and I didn't know how to love you any other way." His voice wavers on the last word. It's the first time I've ever heard him sound uncertain, vulnerable. I swallow hard. "So what now? Do we just admit we're broken and walk away?" He exhales, looks down at his hands. "That's the thing. I don't think we're broken. I think we're scared." I laugh softly, tears burning my eyes. "We're very good at that." He moves toward me, slow and deliberate, as if crossing some invisible line. "You once said you felt like I saw you only as a body. But the truth is I saw too much. Every expression, every sigh, every time you laughed when you thought I wasn't listening. It terrified me, because I realized you could destroy me without meaning to." My breath catches. "And so you decided to destroy us first." His eyes meet mine, dark, glistening. "Yes," the honesty slices me open. I can't hold back anymore. I step forward, closing the distance. "You can't love me and protect yourself at the same time, Alexander. One of those things has to give." He hesitates, jaw tightening. "And if I give up the armor?" "Then maybe," I whisper, "you finally see me." Something shifts. A crack, a surrender, a choice. He reaches for me. Not with hunger this time, but reverence. His hand cups my cheek, his thumb tracing away a tear. "I see you," he says softly. "I see you," and then he kisses me. It's not like before. It's slower, deeper, not about power, not about claiming. It's about letting go. His lips tremble against mine, his breath shuddering as if he's unlearning every rule he ever lived by. I taste rain on his skin, salt on his lips, the ache of all we've lost and everything we're still brave enough to reach for. When we finally part, I rest my forehead against his. "So what now?" I whisper. He smiles faintly, a little broken but real. "Now we start over," I almost laugh. "How does a man like you start over?" He takes my hand, presses it to his chest. His heartbeat is steady, strong, by remembering what this was supposed to be. Not a test, not control, just love. For the first time in months, the silence between us feels soft. Safe. He pulls me into his arms, and I let myself melt against him. The city hums around us. Distant sirens, rain against glass, the quiet rhythm of something being rebuilt. Later we lie on the couch, tangled in the dim light, saying nothing. His hand traces slow circles on my back. I listen to his breathing, and steady, calm, human. "I was never testing you," he murmurs. "I was testing myself." "I know," I whisper. "And you passed." He chuckles softly, the sound low and warm. "Barely." I lift my head to look at him. "You realize this doesn't erase what happened?" "I don't want it to," he says. "I want to remember it, so I never make the same mistake again." The honesty in his voice undoes me all over again. As dawn begins to rise, the rain fades. The city glows pink and silver, and the light spills across his face. The man who once hid behind walls now lying beside me, unguarded. He turns, brushing a kiss against my temple. "You once told me I saw you only as something beautiful to touch." "I remember." He smiles faintly. "Now I see you as something I'm afraid to lose." My throat tightens. "Then don't." He looks at me, and for the first time I know he won't. Outside, the city wakes. Inside, we do too. Not as the couple who built their love on control and fear, but as two people learning painfully and perfectly how to begin again. And as his fingers find mine, I realize something that steadies everything inside me. He wasn't withholding love to punish me. He was waiting for me to meet him in the quiet, where love isn't performed or proven. It's simply chosen.